Hi, Hannah. I'm Jules. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Jules. Nice to meet you too. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Yeah.
Awesome. So, just to get started, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jules. I'm from the Woodlands, Texas. I'm a senior philosophy and rhetoric double major, and I'm so excited to work with you this semester. My pronouns are she, her, hers. If you could just tell me like your hometown, your pronouns, and your major and year.
Yeah. So I'm Hannah. I am a computer science major. I'm a junior, and my pronouns are she, hers, her. And I'm from Austin, Texas.
That's so cool. So, you're literally in your hometown. That's amazing.
Yeah, it makes it a little less lonelier to have family nearby, but still trying to get used to, everything still.
Right. It's really hard to acclimate at first. And I'm so excited you're in the PAC program because this is kind of the perfect place to do it.
Yeah.
So, to get started, I would like to read to you the roles and expectations that we have here at the Peer Academic Coaching program. So, I'm going to share my screen just one moment. So, can you see my screen, hopefully?
Yes, I can.
Cool. I'll go ahead and expand it out so you can see the whole thing. Brilliant. So let's start with the roles and expectations. So, as a member of the Peer Academic Coaching Program, you are going to be agreeing to a certain essentially set of roles and expectations, right? So it's important that you know exactly what you're agreeing to. And I'm just going to go through this doc with you quickly. So, for starters, Peer Academic Coaching is designed as a weekly one semester experience for students wanting structured input over time on how to study effectively for UT courses. So essentially, I'm here to give you academic support in whatever capacity that entails. We are going to work through so much content this semester. We're going to talk about your coursework. We're going to talk about your time management strategies. And I'm agreeing to do a very specific set of things. And that starts with meeting weekly with you. So I'm going to meet with you every single week, no matter what happens. And even if we do have to postpone or delay a meeting, I would really like it that we both agree to always keep up that weekly meeting. It's just easier that way to keep tabs on one another. I also do a variety of things like attending training meetings. We're going to hold sessions in a public place on UT campus. That is usually going to be at the Sanger Learning Center in Jester. However, obviously, we will hold them over Zoom while UT is instructing online. We're also going to respect appointment times. I'm never going to cancel on you with less than a day's notice. I don't cancel on students in general. I'll also be sure if we do have to cancel a meeting, like I said, to schedule another one for that week. And next, maintain student confidentiality. Anything that you tell me is purely between you and I'll only disclose things to my program supervisor if necessary. Those include mental health crises or anything to do with Title IX, such as the sexual harassment claim. But anything besides that is 100% confidential between you and me. And even if that information does go to my supervisor, I can guarantee you that it will be kept with her and she's not going to disclose it to say like the student body or go to UT Twitter, anything like that. So next up, I do keep program supervisors informed of session content. So like, what does that mean? It means that on whatever topic we go over in a day, I'm going to end up writing a report on that later just to kind of go through exactly what happened. And that's for my records as well as theirs. And then next, refer participants to other resources on campus as needed. I'm not a source for everything, right? So there will be certain things that I'm really going to need to recommend to another professional, like a mental health professional, perhaps at CMHC. There's also student legal services. So there's so many resources here. And I'm going to, definitely refer you out to those as I see fit. And then finally, the most important one, collaborate with participants on prioritizing issues and finding their own solutions. So that's a big one. You and I do not have time to work on everything, right? We could get lost working on, every little item that there is out there. So we're going to work very specifically to go for what you need help on. What you are most urgently in need of is what we want to focus on. And then that next part, finding their own solutions. We're going to come up with so many different strategies, so many different tactics. And I hope that you feel comfortable enough with me to honestly disclose, what strategies are working and what strategies aren't working. So that's it for what I'm agreeing to. Do you have any questions at all?
Oh no, I'm good. I This is pretty clear to me.
Amazing. Okay, thank you. So now to engage you a bit, so you're not just sitting there the whole time, I'm going to ask that you read each of these out loud. So you can go ahead and start with this one and just go one by one so I can include some comments after each. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first one is bring class materials to sessions so that new study ideas can be applied to coursework.
Right. So I assume that you're here probably because you want some help on coursework. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Perfect. That is achievable when we have your notes, when we have your syllabi, when we have your class materials. So I'm definitely going to ask that you come ready with those things just so that we actually have material to dive into and apply our study strategies to. Sweet. Okay, go ahead and read the next one.
Remain open to learning about and trying new study strategies and give honest feedback about the effectiveness of new strategies.
Beautiful. Exactly what you want to do, right? So essentially, we are going to be trying things that you have probably never applied in your life. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, I used to be in the peer academic coaching program as a student. And it was scary trying all these new things at first, right? Because you're not used to it, number one. And it also can be kind of time consuming, number two. But what I ask of you is that you are open to giving these things a shot. Like I said earlier, you might not love every strategy that we use, and that's okay. But importantly, I want you to be honest with me about how effective these things are, how you're liking them, how you're not liking them, so we can adjust our plans accordingly and keep you moving forward. Does that sound good?
Yes, for sure.
Perfect. Okay, so for the sake of our session's time, let's go ahead and assume that we've read the rest of the bullet points out loud and keep going. I next want to talk about SLC services. So Sanger actually offers a wide variety of services, and we're going to just go through each of these quickly and go ahead and let me know if you have any questions, all right?
Yes, sounds good.
Perfect. So, for starters, Sanger offers academic counseling, right? So, academic counseling is a little bit different from pure academic coaching in that you're meeting with a professional learning specialist. So, these professional learning specialists have gone to school, studied education, and are essentially armed with a whole host of tools on how to, just as it says right here, discuss effective ways to study, prepare for tests, adapt to course demands, and manage your time and assignments. So if you're ever looking for a little bit more of a hands-on session that can drill down really deep into issues that you're having, I would really recommend academic counseling with a learning specialist. They're one-on-one appointments. You just do it, for an hour-long slot and answer any questions you have. And of course, you could meet with them again if you want to. Beautiful. So next we have peer academic coaching, and that is what we're currently doing together. So as you can see, we do have these weekly appointments, and we also have single appointments. And our topics include pretty much everything you can imagine in the academic world, like semester planning, adjusting to online courses, test readiness, reading tips, concentration, motivation, etc. The beautiful thing about peer academic coaching is it gives you the ability to actually work with the same person throughout the semester, which I think is a really good opportunity to just get in tune with yourself and also to get in tune with another person who's kind of like a mentor. Do you have any questions at all so far?
Nope, you've explained it pretty well.
Amazing, thank you. So next up, we have the Public Speaking Center, and this is actually a center dedicated to teaching UT students how to not only prepare a speech, but also deliver it effectively. It's a great place to go if you're in a group project and you want to practice rehearsing. You can also go when you're just literally brainstorming. As you can see here, the consultants are trained to assist with speaker notes, outlines, visual aids, as well as providing feedback on your nonverbal and verbal delivery. I highly recommend it. I've been to the Public Speaking Center before, and if you are looking to improve any kind of public speaking or presentation skills, definitely the place to go. We also have academic workshops. So in these workshops, you have opportunities to tackle a variety of subjects. You can see the time and location is listed right here, or the time and date, and we have a host of workshops throughout the semester. So I highly recommend checking these out. They're always an hour long, and it's just a really good opportunity, once again, to kind of expose yourself to new resources, new strategies.
Quick question. So
Yeah.
I'm new to a lot of these services at Sanger. So the workshops, because I'm a junior, right? Can I attend that as a junior, or is it open to just freshmen? Is it open to all students?
Yeah, so this is open to every student at UT, even the graduate students. And the cool thing is all of our services are really designed to introduce anyone to a skill. So they're not going to be specifically tailored to freshmen or anything like that. And they would love to have you there. And I'm sure you won't be the only junior attending. That's an amazing question. Thank you. So now let's come down here and check out appointment tutoring. So do you see any of your classes listed here?
Yeah, I think some of my computer science classes are listed on here and my finance class.
That's amazing. So what that means is you have a tutor, actually a host of tutors that are well versed in your subject and can tutor you in a one-on-one appointment. As you can tell, we have a wide range of courses offered here. So this is a great place to go if you're struggling with a test, or maybe you're just not getting a homework assignment, because these tutors have taken all these courses before and are equipped in teaching you, exactly how to go about making a good grade in those classes. Importantly, appointment tutoring and PAC differ in that peer academic coaching is about generalized academic advice, while appointment tutoring is about specific course content. So if you go into these, you're going to be able to have someone actually walk you through your classwork, versus in peer academic coaching, I can give you generalized strategies about them, but I'm not going to be able to actually like tutor you in, computer science, finance, anything like that. Does that all make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perfect, perfect. Great. And then we also have, if you don't want to make an appointment and you're in any of these classes, drop-in tutoring. So drop-in tutoring is offered for all the courses you see here. You essentially can go into these tutoring appointments anytime. It's all on this website right here. But you go and there are tutors that are just waiting there for you to basically ask questions. You can just go there to work and have kind of a study hall, or you can go there with specific questions and they should be able to help you. Beautiful. So now we have math refreshers, which are essentially just little review sessions for different levels of math. As you can see, we have all of them listed here. Once again, we've got the date and the time. Beautiful. And then as you can tell with everything else, you do have to RSVP on the website in order to get the Zoom details. Perfect. And then for the final two, we have these awesome sessions, which are both led by peers, called supplemental instruction and peer-led undergraduate studying. So these are essentially study sessions, which are led by students in the class that are, or just peers who have taken the class before, that are designed to prepare you for exams, talk about the subject matter, and also give helpful learning strategies. So once again, we've got these listed, all of the courses, and notice here that we're looking at the professors' names for each of these courses. So some courses will be listed here, but you want to make sure that you check your professor's name is there. Perfect. And this exact same thing holds for plus. Let's just say I see Bio 325, but my professor is not Kim, so that this plus session is not going to be for my class, but for Kim's class. Of course, you can totally still go, but just good to know, right? They won't necessarily cover the exact same things as you're covering in your class.
Gotcha.
Brilliant. Any questions at all?
Nope, this is pretty straightforward to me. And I like how it's listing the stuff for like just online environment, since I know that it's new to a lot of people.
Perfect. Amazing. So now we come to my next question. How would you like to keep track of all of the worksheets that we go over in our sessions? So as you can tell, we've already gone through 2, and we're going to go through a few more today. Would you prefer Google Drive, or would you like them emailed to you at the end of sessions?
I would prefer Google Drive so that like we can edit it in real time if that works for you.
Yes, that's actually perfect for me. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is create a folder, and I'm just going to call it Hana after your name. And perfect. So what I'm going to do now is share it with you. And at this point, I would insert your email address. And once I've shared it with you, I'm going to upload all of the documents that we talk about right here. So with those things covered, I would now like to briefly talk about the study cycle. So the study cycle is an amazing tool, and it's actually going to be the bulk of what we talk about in our sessions this year. So the study cycle has these 7 big steps, which essentially, as it says right here, help you study smarter, not harder. Okay? So I'm going to give you a minute to read through the study cycle. Start here at Plan for Success. Make sure you're reading through each of these little points underneath, and let me know once you're done.
Okay, I think I've read through all of them.
Perfect. So I would like you to identify the top 3 that you think you'll need help with this semester.
I think I will need help with self-quizzing.
Got it?
Probably reviewing and reorganizing. I think it's the stuff that happens after class that's usually the struggle for me.
That makes so much sense. And I'm so happy that you phrased it like that because these are an excellent place to start. And I just want to quickly talk about this middle part right here, and then we will get into our next topic. So, as this middle section says, to strategically approach learning, it's good to do two primary things. First, you want to distribute practice. You want to spend 2 to 3 hours outside of class for every hour in class, but you want to spread this studying out over time with shorter, more frequent sessions to avoid study marathons. And hopefully, in working with review and self quizzing, we'll be able to do that where we can also include a little bit of planning for success and time management. Brilliant. And next, balancing input output. One of the primary problems that students struggle with is balancing all the information that they take in class with all the information they're required to generate when it comes to test time. Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, it definitely resonates with me.
Makes sense. So we really want to balance these activities by taking opportunities to produce the content you're learning, which that all comes to self-quizzing, which is a topic that we will really dive into. So because you identified these three, I just want to briefly kind of talk about each of them, and then we'll move to the next part. So for starters, review. Reviewing is largely filling in gaps and correcting misunderstandings. And the important part of that is in high school, your teachers do that for you, right? So you've been in college for a long time and you're quite familiar with the fact that professors are not going to try to figure out what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Some of them do, and it's commendable, but it's largely your job to go through and figure out, what don't I understand and why don't I understand it, right?
Mhm.
Brilliant. So next, you really want to put the main ideas of lectures and readings into your own words. And have you ever maybe felt the coursework is just so beyond your grasp, you don't even know where to start?
Yeah, many times. I feel like that's the majority of me in college.
Right. And a lot of people feel like that. It's not just you. I've been there 100% in really complicated classes where it's like, there's so much information coming at me, I don't even know what to do with it. The best way to get a hold of it is to start focusing in on main topics during lectures. So, next, reorganizing. This largely involves organizing your information into different formats, such as outlines, charts, diagrams, flashcards, timelines, flowcharts. So, have you ever done anything like that before during college?
Sometimes I try to do outlines, but I'm not sure if I'm doing them really effectively. So that's why I felt like reorganizing is something I need to work on.
Perfect. Okay, great. So that's definitely something that we'll look at. And then for any classes like maybe idea based classes, structures that show relationships within or between material can be really helpful. I don't know if you've ever had to take like an English class at UT, but those are definitely the ones where you want to start kind of using structures like that. Perfect. So now the final one, self-quizzing. So self-quizzing, we're going to spend so much time on because it's actually one of the primary skills that PAC coaches are trained to teach. So self-quizzing involves creating possible quiz questions by using different levels of learning, which again, we'll go over at a later time. And these questions are really helpful because it gets you thinking like you would for a test, right?
Mhm.
Awesome. So now I would like to bring you to this document right here. What I would like to talk about now is essentially your hardest classes this semester, your short-term goals for the semester, your long-term goals for maybe during college, maybe just after college, whatever you'd like, and then 3 academic strengths of yours and 3 academic challenges. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
Amazing, Hannah. So let's get started. Go ahead and tell me in order from most difficult up here to least difficult down here. What are your 3 hardest classes this semester? So, what makes your operating systems class so difficult?
I think it's mainly, well, for two reasons. I think the first one is that it's a very time consuming class. We have like huge projects, so it's like kind of overwhelming to figure out, how am I going to fit that into my schedule? Um, and then I think the second part is like just I feel like I don't know a lot of people. And so, how am I going to form a group? I think it's that worry, like, how am I going to form a group? How am I going to meet CS students, especially because we're online? Like, how's that going to happen,
Right. And that's a really good concern. The reality is, it can be really difficult to go into a major where you don't know a lot of people because forming a group is a huge part of projects, right?
Mhm.
So that's great. And definitely something that I want to encourage you to kind of recognize a lot of people are probably feeling that way. I really doubt that's just you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for opening up about that. I appreciate it. Now, let's go into your 3 short-term goals. So go ahead and just name a short-term goal that you have this semester.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe for my algorithms class, I'd like to review lecture every single day that I have it. So that way I'm on top of like all the theories and concepts I'm learning.
Perfect. So for each of these, I'm going to write the goal right there and then write your motivation below. So you stay on top of the class content. Beautiful. I think that's such a good goal. Okay. Now let's go into your 3 long-term goals.
I think for a long-term goal is that I would like to get more involved with an organization for the next, I guess, year and a half I have left. So, yeah, I just don't feel like I need more friends and I'm not as involved as I would like to be.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, first off, have you ever heard of HornsLink before?
I have not.
Okay, amazing. Well, what a good chance to introduce you to something. You are always going to have the chance to make friends at UT, and people at UT like to make friends. I mean, it's a very friendly campus. So, I'm very excited for you because this is something that a lot of students struggle with, and it's good to just face it head on. So, this is HornsLink, and HornsLink is actually a website that has every single student organization at UT. So, if you scroll down here, you can tell that they have this search bar, obviously, but they also have the ability to find organizations, attend events, and even track your involvement with orgs once you get started. So I assume that we just want to start with finding organizations. So let's click that. Bam. So I'm going to warn you right now. There are, as you can see right there, 809 organizations. So you really want to be familiar with knowing how to customize what types of organizations you're looking for, right? So
Mhm.
what you want to do is come over to the side, select categories, and then we get this awesome drop-down menu with all these categories. So I'm just going to slowly scroll through.
I think there was one at the top, academic. I think that would just be a good one. Maybe there might be some computer science ones I could join.
Perfect. Clicked academic, and now look at what we've got. So go ahead and tell me if this sounds interesting to you.
I think the advancing campus technology sounds pretty cool.
Me too. So what you would do here is click the link, and once you've clicked it, you should be able to come to this page, which allows you to sign in with your UTE ID. Once you sign in, you should have a host of information, such as their website, hopefully their Instagram, Twitter, and that holds for pretty much every organization in HornsLink. They all want you to go to their social media because their social media basically represents them and has contact information for how to get started. So I
Perfect.
hope that's helped. Do you have any questions at all?
Nope, this is an awesome resource. I didn't even realize this was available. So, yeah, it's going to be a great resource to tell my other friends and stuff.
Perfect. That makes me so happy to hear. Well, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and take this link, cut it, and now I'll come over here and paste it right here. Use HornsLink. I really hope you'll take the time to go and check in on that. In next session, I'm going to be sure to ask you about how HornsLink went.
Sounds good.
Brilliant. So now I would like to talk about your academic strengths and your academic challenges. So for starters, do you kind of understand what academic strengths and challenges entail?
I think so, but could you clarify it a little bit more?
Absolutely. So academic strengths are those skills which help you to excel academically. There are a variety of academic strengths and they come in every shape and size. There are academic strengths such as simply being a hard worker, having a good work ethic, being able to sit down and work for hours and, not needing a break or having the willpower to just keep going, right?
Mhm.
Another big academic strength would definitely be note taking. If you're really good at taking notes, it's a huge asset come test time.
Mhm.
Another one is test taking. There's also dedication. That seems general, but if you're a very dedicated person, if you identify goals and you work towards them until you achieve them, that's definitely a strength, right?
Mhm.
So with that, could you go ahead and come up with just 3 strengths that you have?
Yeah, I think one is that I'm really organized.
That is a huge one for sure. What next?
I would say I am a good note taker, I think. Just need to work on the reviewing part of it, but good at taking notes.
Brilliant.
And then the last one I think is dedication. I'm dedicated to, like, once I start something, I'm ready to finish it through. So
That's amazing. Okay, well, that's really exciting because I mean, it's looking like you're going to be a great student to work with. I'm excited about it. Now let's go into your academic challenges. What are the things which stand in the way of you achieving the progress that you'd like to see?
I think the first one is stress. I get stressed out very easily. The second one would be, I think, time management. And then the last one would be, I think, maybe confidence. Like, for example, I said that I wanted to find more friends and stuff, right? So, like, I want to form study groups, but I'm like, okay, how do I reach out to people? Where do I find people? Like, sending out that first email. So,
Right, right. That's really interesting. And I think that that actually leads us to the first homework assignment that I have for you. So I'm going to go ahead and come up to the top of this page so you can look at it later. And I'm going to put your homework assignment right there. So I'm going to ask that you, before our next session, go ahead and talk to 3 students in class, message them afterwards to start a study group. Awesome. So, how realistic does that sound to you?
I think it sounds realistic. It's going to be tough, but I'm here to make changes, right? So, hopefully it will happen.
Amazing. And I definitely want to say, I know that it might not be possible to talk to 3 students, especially if it's over Zoom. So, what I really want you to focus on is this second part, messaging afterwards to start a study group. If your class has a group chat, I would say just send a message in the group chat and say, would anyone be interested in forming a study group before the next test?
Mhm. Okay, I will definitely do that.
Perfect. Amazing. So now what we want to talk about after we filled out your semester traits and academic goals is this goal setting worksheet. So obviously you came to PAC for, quite a few reasons. And it's good to, especially in this first session, just get a really good grip on exactly why you're here and what your long-term vision is for not only this semester, but also just life in general. So I would like to start by kind of explaining this. So, long term wise, motivation increases when you can connect your current actions with your desired future outcomes. So, examples of long term goals are I want to work in medicine. I want to contribute financial stability to my family. I want to help people. I want to make change in the world. Can you think of absolutely any long term goals that you have?
Yeah, I think I want to become a software engineer.
That's a brilliant goal. I love that. Awesome. What else?
I think I would like to work in like a health tech company because I want to help people. So,
I love that idea. Okay. Work in a health tech company, help people. Well, those are already fantastic goals. Are there any others that you would like to include?
I can't think of any right now, but maybe if I do, I'll come back to it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for that. Those are beautiful long term goals. So now we want to transfer into outcome goals. These are broad general statements that describe what you want to achieve or accomplish. So, an example of that, I know you said that one of your goals was to make all A's in your classes. That would be an outcome goal. So, can you go ahead and think of just 2 or 3 outcome goals that you have for this semester?
Yeah, I think I want to make an A specifically in my operating systems class. And then I would also like to have an overall 3.75 GPA.
Great. And I think those are both commendable outcome goals, which are very clear and describe exactly what you want to achieve. So have a 3.75 GPA. Perfect. So now that we've gone through outcome goals, let's talk about that a bit. So go ahead and read these two sentences, please.
Okay.
Out loud, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. He states that the most typical goal people pursue is an outcome goal. It refers to a specific state that you hope to reach in the future.
Now go ahead and read this out loud.
The second type of goal is a process goal that focuses on a set of actions you can perform. As a side effect of those actions, you may perform some desirable outcomes, but your focus is on the actions, not on the outcome. Process goals typically result in greater motivation and behavioral change than outcome goals do.
Exactly. So the important thing is that process goals, rather than focusing on that end, that final step of achieving the 3.5 or getting the A in class, they refer to the process itself that you're going to need to take to get to those goals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Perfect. So a process goal is a statement that describes specific behaviors or actions you want to turn into regular habit patterns, like attending office hours, drop-in tutoring, trying to study in new places, and avoiding your phone when you're studying. So knowing your personal study habits, what are some process goals that you would like to achieve this semester, which will help you with your outcome goals?
I think I would like to work on my operating systems projects a little bit each day, because that way, like, it's not super overwhelming. And then another one is like reviewing my class lecture notes every day for all my classes so I can stay on top of everything.
Fantastic. Those are both so impressive because each of those is not going to be easy, but is going to make a tremendously positive impact on your goals. So review class notes after lecture for every class. Fantastic. So now let's move to the next step here, which is a quick check. So are your process goals above smart enough to succeed? SMART is a concept which actually refers to specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound goals. So did any of those specifications look like we maybe missed out on that in our description up here?
Maybe it's not the most specific or time bound.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. It definitely seems action oriented to me because we are using verbs in both of those. Work on the project each day, reviewing class notes.
Mm-hmm.
However, yeah, I wouldn't say they're the most time bound, and it also doesn't look like they are that specific because, working on a project each day, that's leaving it very open. So, how about now we try rephrasing these into a SMART goal? And
Okay.
what I would like you to do is just go ahead and pick one and we'll rephrase it into a SMART goal.
Okay, we can do the working on the operating systems project each day as our example.
Perfect. So let's come up with a specific time that you would want to do your OS project each day.
Okay, so maybe from 3 to 5, I can work on it with my group from Monday through Friday.
Perfect. So this looks very specific to me.
Mm-hmm.
And is it measurable?
Could you explain a little bit more about what it means to be measurable?
Absolutely. So a measurable goal is one that has tangible progress that you can actually make note of. So to me, it does look like this goal is measurable because you can simply measure it in the number of successful days that you are meeting with your group and working on the project.
Awesome.
Perfect. So next, is it action oriented? I will work on seems pretty action oriented to me. However, we could definitely use some more specific verbs. So are there any, specific verbs that we could use here referring back to your project and the type of work that you'll be doing?
Maybe I will work on the code, or like I will work on the planning aspect and code. I don't know if those are actionable verbs, but
I love both of those. Yes.
Okay.
So we can say, I will plan, I will work on /plan/program for the OS project.
Okay.
Now that's looking quite specific to me. And you've got a lot more description here.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Now, this is, I think, a good point. Is that realistic?
I think it is because I knew this class was going to be a pretty heavy class, so all my other classes are not as time consuming. So I do believe I have the time to take with this project.
Perfect. And that kind of realistic approach is exactly what you want to bring into the table here. So
Mhm.
I'm quite glad that you've already prepared for this ahead of time by taking easier classes. And that's definitely something you want to think about whenever you set a goal. How realistic is it? And how, likely is it that I'll actually be able to accomplish it?
Mhm.
Beautiful. And then finally, this is clearly time bound as you've got it from Monday to Friday from 3 to 5 p.m.
Mhm.
And to really meet that time bound requirement, you can also set a deadline for yourself. Would you like to do that now?
Yeah, we can set a deadline.
Sure. So when is that project due?
That project is going to be due on the 18th of September.
And when do you want to be done working on it?
Realistically, I think the September, maybe like 15th would be a good day just in case, something goes wrong with turning it in or we run into issues.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, this sounds amazing. And I think that so long as you continue to stay on track, this looks really realistic to me.
Awesome.
Perfect. So now let's do some brief reflection and notice that this does in fact parallel the document that we've already done, right? Where we
Yeah.
talked about your strengths, which as you said, were
I
dedication,
was going to say, and organized.
right? Because you are organized and that's a huge strength. And then, of course, we also have some challenges, right? And that's
Mhm.
totally okay. But what we haven't included are some resources and rewards that you can use to motivate yourself. So,
Mhm.
what is one resource? And yes, this one is quite easy, but I'll do it nonetheless. What's one resource that you have?
Well, I have peer academic coaching.
Exactly. It seems almost like silly to write it, but that is a huge resource for you and hopefully one that you'll take full advantage of this semester. What's
Mhm.
another resource?
My professor.
Exactly. And specifically, how do you access your professor?
I can email her or go to office hours.
Beautiful. Very, very good point, and often one that students overlook, right? The professor's right there paid to help you. You might as well take advantage of it. Okay, what next?
Well, some of the worksheets we've done can help with like breaking things down.
Perfect. So now, I think another resource that I really don't want you to forget is CMHC, right? You
Yeah.
never know, right? You never know when you could use the help. And it's important to know that UT does offer free counseling to its students.
Mm.
So, UT counseling. Brilliant, brilliant. Um, and then, of course, another resource that we don't want to forget, and I'll just paste it down here, is HornsLink. You said that it's really important to you to make friends this semester, and I absolutely agree. So make sure to take advantage of that and really use it to the fullest extent. Now that we've got that, let's talk about rewards. So when you are working hard and you are doing this, 3 to 5 planning, programming with the OS group, how are you going to reward yourself?
Maybe some days, like when I'm working on Fridays, I can get like go out and get food or something.
Right. Go out and get food. Brilliant. What's another way you would like to reward yourself when you've achieved the things that you wanted to achieve?
I usually like to um hang out with friends.
Right. That's a great one. Anything else that comes to mind that you could use as a motivating reward?
Well, I know a new Netflix show came out, so I could use that as a reward that I'll get to watch that show once I turn in my project.
Brilliant. Well, this looks just fantastic to me, and I love what we've done here. So, I think if you don't have any further questions, I just want to remind you to use this worksheet in the future when we're building your study plans and actually write down the rewards that you're going to do.
Okay, sounds
That
good.
sound good?
Hmm.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, let's move on to the next worksheet now. So, I would now like if we could go ahead and look at a deadline calendar. So, have you ever heard of the term deadline calendar before?
I have not.
And that is totally okay. So what the deadline calendar is essentially a document which is going to keep track of every single deadline that you have this semester. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this one is for the fall, and as you can see, it's completely blank. And we're going to go ahead and fill it out right now as an example for how you would fill it out for the rest of your classes. So if you don't mind, go ahead and pull up a syllabus from fall 2020 and we'll get started. Okay, can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Let's just start by doing this for your toughest class. So you said that, what was it again? Something systems?
Yeah, operating systems.
Operating systems was your toughest class by far. Well, let's start with operating systems. So the deadline calendar, you really want to have like your big deadlines and your big assignments on here. So we're going to start with tests. Go ahead and tell me when your 3 tests are for operating systems.
So the first exam is going to be on the 30th of September.
Perfect. So notice that I'm just going to say operating systems test.
Okay.
Brilliant. All right, continue.
And then the next exam is going to be at the end of October. So I think October 28th.
Perfect.
And then we have a final, but they haven't released the date yet. So I'm not sure if I
Okay, that's fine. So you only have 2 tests. Amazing. Now, do you have any quizzes?
We have no quizzes.
Okay, cool. Do you guys have like big projects or homework assignments?
Yeah, we have 5 big projects, and then we also have a problem set due every Friday.
Okay, great. Would you like to put the problem set on your deadline calendar?
We don't have to since it's every week and every Friday, but if it's something that you think would be helpful for me, just, I guess I said because I wasn't so great with time management, maybe we could put it on there.
I think it would definitely be good to have, regular homework assignments like that on there, just because when you're looking at a week, you want to have an accurate picture of what your week actually looks like. And those problem sets are going to be a factor.
Okay.
So go ahead and just tell me when those problem sets start being due and when they end being due.
So I think they start on September 4th, and we can say they end on October 9th.
So operating systems, can I just call it PS for problem set?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Operating systems PS. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So now, and you said it ends on October 9th?
Yeah.
Perfect. So now, when is your projects due? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so our project, the first one is due on the 18th of September.
Okay.
And then the next one is due on the 16th of October. And then the next one is due on the 6th of November.
Perfect.
The next one is due on the 20th of November.
All right.
And then the last one is due the 7th of December. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So with all of that done, your deadline calendar is already looking pretty good. So let's zoom out really quickly so you can kind of get the full effect. Bam. So do you see how it's already nice to kind of have this laid out and ready to go for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brilliant. And just looking at this, could you go ahead and identify with me what looks like maybe like the toughest 2-week stretch or the toughest like 1-week stretch?
I think the 2 weeks where I have an exam, so like for example, the week of September 28th or 27th. So we have an exam and a problem set. And then in October, we have an exam and then a project due the week after. So it's kind of like back-to-back stuff.
Yeah, that is 100% what I was looking at, and I completely agree with you there. So what I'm going to do are put these little asterisks right here so we can know that this is going to be a tough week, okay? And I'll even write that. Tough. So what we definitely want to do is make sure that in the time leading up to this week, we have lots of time management ready to go, lots of planning done, and we're keeping you on track.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So With all of that done, I now have another homework assignment for you. Before I see you next time, I'm going to remember, talk to you about HornsLink, check and see if you've maybe joined an organization, hopefully. I'm also going to make sure that you texted students in your group, hopefully getting together some kind of a study group. And then lastly, I would like if you could complete this deadline calendar and have it done for all of your classes so we can get a really accurate look at what your tough weeks are going to be.
Sounds good. I will make sure to remember that.
Absolutely amazing. Do you have any questions at all for me, Hana?
I do not. I think we covered a lot of good stuff in our session, and I'm excited for next week.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much. Well, without further ado, I think that's all I have for you, and I'll see you next week.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.